know, it's the thing about making things, whether it's art, whether it's music or painting, or, you know, it's not easy to make something good. It takes a lot of work, and people say sometimes things come easily, but in truth, it's always a lot of work. No one would do it if you weren't compelled to do it. And what compels us to make stuff, you know? You have something inside you that you want to express. I've decided for me, and so it's always wanting to talk to people. It's about that communication and you know, talking about what it means to be a human being, and saying, is it that way for you too? You know, that's really my greatest hope for what we're doing.
I think I have to say that the creation of art is not a simple, it's not, the process is not simple, and the end product shouldn't really be simple, you know. I mean, the reality of it is most people who can afford really good art, they do it to, you know, make their living rooms pretty, and that's okay. But that has nothing to do with the person who made that art, you know. And I'm not saying, I'm not one of those types that believes that the process always has to be tortured, but, you know, I mean, I'm talking about you plumbing some sort of depth that you do so with disregard for who's involved in watching or appreciating, you know. I mean, what happens when we play is very much about me and me, you know. And it just so happens that I feel comfortable enough having you people be there. You know, I mean, the art that we're doing has changed over time as well, you know, but the idea of you know, pure expression as separate from something like pure reason, say, is sloppy and sometimes chaotic. You know?
In the street, the day dims, and it's taking my soul with it. Blue and blue and red and red, and nothing's the same when nothing remains. And caught in mud, in grocery stores.
Wait a minute, you mean you don't hear anything?
Correct. I
Look
see
at
your
your right
left
side, you got a monitor engineer. Help you tell me, you have to tell the monitor guy. Because it works here.
You have to tell somebody that actually cares.
I mean, I'm very sentimental, so I think of it that way. It gets to be a little old to always say, well, it's 20th anniversary. You know, I think it brings up rock and roll. You're always supposed to be very young, and obviously we're all in our 40s now, so it just gets to be a little odd. We're not the Rolling Stones, so we're not like we've been made rich by this. There's no big point to saying 20 years, but that's important to me. I tend to do things that I tend to stick with things. I'm very loyal, and I'll do the same thing for a long time if it works. And so, yeah, it's important. And the new re-release of Fuckfest on CD, got to go back and listen to that. And there's always with a tour a sense of reassessment. We go back and play all the songs. We've got a book with maybe 45 songs, and you know, we play everything. We make a new set every night just before we go on stage, maybe 10 minutes, which is utterly frantic as far as tuning the guitars and things. But and this tour we're doing something unusual that we haven't done before, and that is playing 2 acoustic songs at the beginning. I'm an acoustic guitar player. Playing electric guitar is sort of, you know, it's a hobby. Acoustic is really what I've always done. So that's a nice way to start. I think no electricity. Dan is playing cello. I'm playing guitar with no amplification. My old Martin guitar that I got when I was 14 years old. I love that thing. And to begin the show that way, and that sort of makes it feel like a special tour as well. And I think it's, you know, I think of shows, I think of records as telling a story. It's a nice way to begin the story of the evening for us.
Unchangeable and unchanged. They are irrefutably beyond blame.
Sunlight, baby.
And you look up at me with eyes wet with wonder, and you ask me what it is you need to know, and I will tell you so.
That's part of the fun, that moment when suddenly the memory returns. Oh, I've been here before, yeah! It's very in your brain?
Usually what we do is we don't make a set until we walk through the crowd and walk through the club and spend time in the building to see what it feels like, you know. So the idea behind putting a set together after that is to try to match how we feel, you know, how you feel, you know, how and kind of come up with this diamond thing, you know. And the degree to which we think we've had a good show is a degree to which we've successfully been able to do that. So, I mean, it's for others to decide, but insofar as we, the people playing the music, are concerned, it seems like we've done that. So, it feels to me inside like we've done that.
I just like playing bigger stages like this because there's so much more room to move around. You know, you can walk around. As a guitar player, if you can't hear the drums, you just go over to the drums. If you can't hear the vocal, you go over to the vocal. It's just, the sound is more open, and you can turn the amps up louder, which is always nice as a guitar player. There's lots of space. It's just more relaxed. And I mean, small stages, small clubs are good because it can have a really warm feeling, and you know, it can just, that kind of sweatiness and closeness can be really fun. But you can't move, and you're always like bumping into your bandmates and cracking the bass player's head with your guitar headstock. And with our setup, it's always too much gear to fit on a small stage. So every day I have to spend an extra half an hour negotiating with Greg about how to place the drums and the amplifiers, because it just seems like I need a lot of amps, and don't have that problem on big stages either. So, you know, big stages are nice. When I think about it, probably the thing that's changed for me, I wanted with the first record to do live shows the way that the record is, so looking at mirror reversals, and I had this idea to tape record the live show and to play it backwards while we were playing, to have this layer, and that's indicative of how I was thinking of the band at the time, to just be this art project, to do things that other bands were afraid to do, to be more abrasive, to be more pretty, to put things on top of each other, to be more complex, to use classical forms, to use fuzzbox, to use... Oxbow needs to be fearless, to be not pop music, but I'm interested in having simple songs that are pretty, that are digestible, that you can appreciate quickly. So that's the big change.
To hell is paid for good intentions. But it seems like only yesterday that I heard you mention your old man was coming home. I had to leave a while. I had to go. Your man was coming home. I had to leave a while. I had to go. So I crept around by the yellowing window. Not want to believe my eyes, listen to whisper my pistol. As another man took what I thought was mine.
make a set, the starts, the stops, the fast, the slow, where it goes, you know. That's an important thing too, the journey and to give things somewhere to go. Starting acoustically and then going to loud things. Narcotic Story, we ended with, it's a story and there's a nature scene at the end. I did like a Foley, sort of a bunch of bird calls and river and wind sounds. The idea being that Frank, the character in the film, has gone through the denouement. He's like out in the field wandering off into the distance, off camera. And so that kind of feeling of beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'm not sure how the new record, Thin Black Duke, will end, but the shows are that way too. And so when we make up a set just before we play, it's sometimes we'll get halfway through and we'll say, how do we want to end it? And then we'll work back.
I mean, I'm reminded of, I don't know, Nina Simone at one point. She was playing and some guy in the audience was talking or coughing and she just stopped and looked at him and said, "You think this shit is easy? It's not. You try it." And she got up and she walked out, you know? And I mean, largely, if there's any danger at all involved in an Oxbow show, I mean, it's not like, you know, there's some shows that give the appearance of danger, you know, which is what nobody wants, real danger. If I pulled out a gun and started shooting, even if I was just shooting, you know, some people might say, you know what, I can listen to this shit at home without fear I'm going to get shot. My introducing danger, it's just that I really want to get from point A to point B effectively and efficiently and you know, in an artistically significant manner. And it gets hard to do that. It's one of me on stage, 4 of us total. You know, it's an audience. It could be very well that, you know, my perception of danger is that I have much more to lose than anybody in the audience. So I react accordingly. I guess people are paying. There's an expectation that they paid for you to do something. I give you money. And you have a paintbrush, I have an expectation that you're gonna paint my fucking house. You know, if people come to an Oxbow show, I don't know what expectation they have, but, you know, it sometimes might be at variance with my expectation or our expectation. So, and that's when danger, you know, you paint my house pink and I've asked you to paint my house purple, we're gonna have problems. So, but I think largely, you know, the movie, music for adults, the press, I think this has largely kind of helped. You know, somebody at one point was very angry with me and they said, you have a responsibility to warn the audience. We had no idea that this was going to happen. And I said, really? Responsibility to warn you, you know. What kind of warning do you get when you go to a museum? Well, those are just paintings, just. I've had my life changed by painting.
as well. I'm the crook and the crime and loving it.
So we are with Eugene Robinson from Oxbow. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
How are you now?
We just finished the show, so I'm a little. It takes a while, not too long, a little after a show to come back to normal.
To normal. Yes.
Whatever that might be for me.
It's the only question who doesn't talk about Oxbow, but about the influences.
Okay.
What the musical influences of all members of the band and yours, because you're here.
Well, you should ask them. I mean, I'm sure, you know, Nico will say, you know, Xenakis and Musique Concrete, and you know, Dan will maybe say Bill Evans, and I might say, I mean, influences. I can tell you who I'm obsessed with. I don't know that they influence me, but I can tell you who I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with the singers, like Arthur Prysock, Billy Eckstein, Johnny Hartman, Little Richard. Yeah. These are the ones who obsess me. Karen Krogh, you know, Diana Washington. So they're great voices. They come from some other place. So literally, I think so. And they're underappreciated. What do you think happened to jazz? At a certain point, jazz musicians say, you know, I can play cornet, trumpet, saxophone well enough to mimic the voice. We don't actually need a singer. And that's when jazz died as a popular art form. I mean, people used to show up like this for jazz shows. But the musicians started to confuse the necessity of the singer. They said, you know, Miles Davis said, you know, I could play Sketches of Spain. I can play a line that mimics a vocal line. I don't need, but they forget that like in Greek mythology, the singer is the demiurge. You know, I'm taking the realm of eternal ideas and turning them into things that people understand. You know, I mean, you can't. Most singers don't have a vocabulary to feel good about what they do. They just figure like they're trained monkeys, like they're front, you know, like you say, like a front man, you know, like a showman.
A showman, yeah.
It's much
but
more
with
than
nothing to tell.
It's much more than that, you know. You try listening to 3 hours of instrumental music. Try.
You did play with strings tonight at the first part of the Oxbow show.
Yeah, we did.
Do you often play like acoustic or in the middle of the crowd or?
Well, Nico and I have done the acoustic duo, where we've toured just the two of us playing the acoustic songs, and Oxbow has done full band acoustic sets, all four of us. But this we decided to do for the whole tour, just do some acoustic stuff.
When's possible?
Because it's fun.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dan usually does it with a big contrabass. But getting that on the airplane is very difficult. So he had to use a cello instead.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen Robinson
Okay.
from Oxbow, and see you later.
Thank you. I'll put my pants on now.
No.
Now, right.
We played the small stage and it was good. We sweat. And I didn't knock over the piano. I banged into it a couple times because of the small stage, but that was fine. Nice people in front. Some guy kept touching my guitar. He kept reaching out. And it didn't annoy me. It was like, okay, he was having fun. Sometimes that bugs me. They served us champagne from Mariexxme afterwards and had a lovely meal with all the crew and the other band and our friends Philippe and Alex. And early on, it was great.
We keep waiting for that one bad show. Every tour has got one, you know. I can't figure out whether I really know people from the last time I was here, or whether they just look like people who I know. You know.
I've run out of toothpaste, which is a true tragedy. It's a terrible thing, you know. We did all our playing of squats and sleeping in squats when we were, you know, in our 20s. And now that was 20 years ago, it's like I don't want to sleep on dusty floors and there's no light in the shower. And I mean, that's totally fine. It's just we did that.
You never know when you're gonna need a hotel fast. Right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you have that app?
Well, no.
Download it.
Well, it's the same. Like it doesn't get online here unless I pay for the roaming.
Got the special check plan.
Yeah.
Turns on his iPhone, it's just a big finger.
Hey, fuck you. No calls for you.
Well, we'll be there on Friday, so if it gets there Thursday, that should be fine. And do you have there's a guy named Pierre there, and we have his phone number as well. Eugene says, where did you find them? Okay, we appreciate it. Okay, very good. You take care. Okay, bye. Yeah, okay. He said somebody from the crew found it. He wasn't sure. He thought it was by the merchandise area or something. Okay, baby doll geometry.
Oh, let's not open the baby doll. It's gonna be a mess.
You can't make things when you're too emotional, when you're experiencing something deeply. So you need to have some distance for it. Otherwise, it's not art, you know, for lack of a better term. It's the same thing with performing. You know, you can't. The way for us to make this incredibly emotional music, this very strong, whether it's quiet, whether it's pretty, whether it's ugly, whether it's, you know, whatever, to make it very strong, you can't really feel all those emotions all the time. You have to have some distance in order for it to be a performance. Otherwise, it's just people crying on stage, and that's, you know, that's not a play. That's too much real life, and real life is right here. So we're trying to do something that is, you know, not real life, but to make a story that way.
nothing. And even that was a bargain. The garbage in your garden. But you know, you must believe me when I say, you know, you must believe me when I say, I never meant yesterday that I heard you mention your man was coming home, and I had to leave a while. I had to go. Your man was coming home, and I had to leave a while. I had to go. I want to believe my eyes or listen to the whisper of my pistol. So another man took what I thought was mine. I thought I was dying. So I crept around by the back, and I undid the latch. With a fire knife in my hand, I made everything right wrong again, everything wrong again, everything wrong again. And in my hand, Magnifique.
How's it look? How's it look?
There was 2 monitors in the front, and we were supposed to have 3 different monitors in the front and drums, and there was 1 mix, so there was only 2 speakers in the front, then 1 broke. So when we played, we only had a single monitor in the front and the drum monitor. They were the same mix, which is really difficult to play with, and came as a surprise. They promised they would fix it after sound check, and they didn't. So that was just difficult. And there's other problems too with the PA. Manuel is very upset, our sound guy. So it's been a difficult night.
No, it was the chaos, but they worked out. Despite the PA. Manuel.
My first memory of fighting was probably being, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old with my cousin, Debbie, my older cousin. And she was obsessed with teaching me how to fight. And see, she was about 9 years old when I was about 5 years old. So her teaching me how to fight largely involved her beating me up. I mean, I had a great time. I mean, for me, fighting is not an unpleasant situation, maybe largely because of this. I mean, it was an extension of play, you know. So, and usually when I'm fighting, I don't fight with anger.
This Algerian fellow.
He's fleeing.
They tackle him.
See a place to park the van?
A triple and 2 doubles.
All right.
Cool, I'm staying in a van.
Okay, thought so. Okay, that works. We'll book it.
I'm not gonna break my promise. Get out.
It's gonna be a palace.
Here, it's all. It's so bad. Our Czech driver won't sleep here. And he sleeps in the van instead. Well, I am happy to be here. Happy. I wanted to start screaming and running.
I was in the New York mouse business. I was in the New York.
It's not so easy. I need some practice. Can you help me? Some practice? It's so foamy. How do you do it?
What was that thing that we saw at the first hotel? The one in Brighton? You should note, the building is largely made of wood. Very narrow stairways.
Death awaits.
Yeah, death awaits.
That's not the. Which hotel is this?
The one we're staying tonight.
Yeah, but we were to stay at the Royal.
Yeah, it's called the Royal Hotel.
On tour, it's very like day to day to day to day. I try not to think about the whole thing as it's not for some time after I get back, a couple of weeks afterwards, that I ever kind of. Each tour has a different feel and a different meaning in it, but I don't know what that is, and I won't know that until I get home and think about it for a while. Oxbow stays very much the same, but the tours are all different.
It's just it's a summary of where everybody is in their lives in the band. how tired we are at a given time, or how hungry, or how overfed we are. It's been a year and a half or so since we've been over here. So the nice thing is it's always filled with surprises. We don't necessarily know what the clubs are going to be like. We don't know whether people will be there or not. We don't know whether we'll, be playing well or not. So it's always an adventure. This is pretty interesting because for the first time in a while we've played a whole tour on our own rather than coupled with another band, and so it's nice to see a little bit more recognition out there. People who know about the band come to the shows. There's still many of them fairly small shows, but I think the crowd response has been good. People seem to know about the music a little bit more. People seem to respond well.
I think we finally gotten to the point now after 20 years where we can play acceptably most nights. So it's interesting to release live recordings that we hope don't suck.
Basta!
kind of religious symbology. The left hand is usually reserved for, the forces of evil, the earthbound forces. So typically everything on the left side of my body it depicts some sort of, earthbound relationship to the human endeavor, and the right side is supposed to represent some sort of, positive upswing, whether it's, a spiritual thing or something. But and then in the middle of the body, you have, of course, the battle for the soul, and you have no more potent symbol, snake, the forces on the ground, as well as figuring heavily biblically, and then you go up, and then there's a heart, and then you go up even further, and it's a bird, which of course is a force of, it's a creature of the air, and it all comes from here, with 77, Secret 77. There are 3 sevens in my body. If you're into numerology, three points of light. So, as well as the birthplace of me being here, all coming from here, and so the battle is, for what we consider the soul. So that's, roughly speaking, what it's all about. And so the left side and the right side should be sort of depictions of that direction that things go on my body, whether like the lightning bolts, whether they go up or down, support that. And the stuff on the back is not finished. The stuff on the legs is not finished. But I mean, the reality of it is, about 12 years ago, I had a road to Damascus moment where things that were good and things that were evil seemed to me to be things that didn't have any significance. I mean, people get lost in symbology. The course of my life is going to a gas station, evil is good. Most of what we do, 99% of what we do, is value neutral. Going to a grocery store is neither evil nor not evil, it just is. So, anytime anybody starts talking to you about good and evil, you're talking to a dangerous person. I probably stopped being a dangerous person about 12 years ago. So that's as far as I'm going to go with the whole tattoo thing. I'd rather talk about the mustache.
I think we work together pretty brilliantly. Because if we didn't, there's no way we'd be able to tolerate spending this much time together working on music to the point where we would finish. Playing with Oxbow has always kind of been an important expression, an important release, and we haven't been playing that much lately, so it's good to get out and play some shows. And now we gotta go write some more music. It's time for that, I think.
Chocolate. Belgian chocolate. Because that's where we are. Last show. End of the tour. I'm not sick anymore. It's good. Fuck this.
It's not the taking. It's the giving that I love. The taking.